Hello， 大家好，这里是先森，欢迎收看我的公鸡神探游戏实况第11集。第4章 Farewell, my lovely.
I slept like I used to sleep years ago, like a miner or a soldier, empty, dead tired. Then I saw Tessa, my darling little daughter. But no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't recall her face. I reached out to her, but she just kept getting further and further away. Then I saw Molly. But she wasn't real, just the ghost of a memory. I'm here, I cried, but all I heard was laughter. Not hers. Who's there? Suddenly, she appeared. Natasha. Just stood there laughing, but her eyes were cold. Then she said something. Painted red, painted red, painted red.
哇，疯狂点题啊！
That was just a dream, Sonny. Nothing more. I looked at Marty and I saw the same thing in his eyes as he probably saw in mine. It's time to hit the brakes, to turn back, go home and forget about all of this. Of course, I stepped on the gas instead. Honestly, I wasn't expecting anything good, but this...
Ooh, just like a horror movie.
I was thinking the same.
Appearances can be deceiving.
Let's hope so.
这不是精神病院吗？怎么背景音还有小孩？哎呦，什么东西啊？哼，这个朱克还抽搐了一下，哇，好吓人啊！就有听到小孩哭的声音啊。好斑驳的墙体，我们照例来看一波环境线索。奇怪的壁画，这画的什么？狐狸王发了一碗什么东西给这个小狗、小猫、小鸟。
This picture,
It's very
special.
就没啦。
This it's special.
好吧，虽然它非常的特别，在这个黑白的世界里，只有它这个彩色的绘画格格不入啊。
Even if you manage to escape, there's nothing but hills and forests for 100 miles.
Imagine how many poor lunatic ghosts must haunt those woods.
简而言之就是与世隔绝，是吧？
Ooh, Sonny, you're creeping me out.
走
We should
廊。
go to reception first.
我们要先去这个是个护士啊，看着像是个广告牌啊。
This guy seems strangely familiar to me.
You don't say. You've been treated here too. That would explain a lot.
Oh, don't be stupid. I'm serious. Take a closer look.
No.
Well?
No, it can't be. Are you telling me it's him? M.B. Davis himself?
I'm sure of it, pal. It seems the gossip was true. The eternal king of jazz in a madhouse.
Oh, no. The poor devil.
森尼大受打击，他的偶像住进精神病院里面。
It doesn't matter how big a star you once were. Ending up lonely and crazy in a rotting insane asylum in the middle of nowhere is like the universe restoring its balance.
That was very poetic of you, Marty. Almost deep. Careful you don't drown.
Cluck you.
那我们找护士吧。
Like an angel from heaven, isn't she?
Yeah, half of her's still up there, I think.
就是
That's rude.
Oh, boo-hoo.
又是皮厚的啊，原来如此，连头都看不见。
Of all the great wild ones.
这也太吓人了吧！
Greetings, miss.
Is it really you?
Well, yes.
他应该是接电话的那位啊。
Yes, it really is you. The chicken police.
I'm afraid so.
Of all that's furry and plumey, that's fantastic. Oh my goodness.
Miss, we'd like to ask...
Please, don't be scared.
原来是个迷妹啊。
I'm just really excited. You know, I've read every book about you and your adventures, and I even collected newspaper articles when I was a little girl.
Indeed.
You can't imagine what an honor it is to meet you in person.
We really...
Oh, God, oh, God, oh, God. Take a deep breath, Miranda. Take a deep breath.
我配的好好啊。
Are you okay, miss?
Yes, I am. I just needed some air. So, dear detectives, Santino and Martin, what can I do for you?
Well, miss, we have some questions, if you don't mind.
I'd love to answer all of your questions, detectives.
怪不得他的电话里是那个语气啊。
Sorry, but I still can't believe it's really you.
Neither can we.
You can't imagine how wonderful it is that I can help you in one of your cases. Does this mean it will become a new book? And maybe I will be in it?
Miss, those books aren't really...
Don't even tell me. No. I don't want to know. Let it be a surprise instead.
No, I didn't mean...
Leave it to me, Sonny. I'm good at this. Thank you, miss. Your words are very flattering, and we are honored.
哼，玛丽说把妹的事情我来干。
No, I thank you. I'll never forget this day.
We won't either, that's for sure.
We're happy to bring you joy, miss. Anytime.
好，我们来询问啊。啊，只能问一个啊。
Say, miss, what can you tell us about this place?
Our institution was standing even before the Great Meat War, and during the war, it was transformed into a military hospital. Since then, we're relentlessly working on treating injured minds under the leadership of Dr. Quetzal, the famous specialist.
The place seems pretty empty.
是个
Many
蛇
people
吗
work here?？
这个医生。
We have 32 residents and 7 nurses, including me. We also have a 3-person maintenance and cleaning staff, and, of course, the heart and soul of our institution, Dr. Quetzal himself.
这个奎扎克
I see. Now, this Dr.
那规模还
Quetzal,
挺大啊，
is
这个
he
医
the
院。
director here?
Exactly. Director, scientist, researcher, patron, and doctor. And even a friend.
Quite a guy.
He certainly is.
哦，可以问问这个。哦，真的是个蛇，羽蛇神医生。
So who is this Dr. Quetzal exactly?
He's a world-famous researcher of the mind, Mr. Featherland. He published countless books in the fields of psychology and psychotherapy.
Psycho... what?
Unraveling the mind. It's the most crucial mission of the century, Mr. McChicken.
That's really good to know.
So this doctor's some celebrity, right? Does he usually meet other important persons?
I'm not sure I know what you mean.
Well, like Mr. Hobart Wessler, for...
Ah, yes. That's something you should ask the doctor himself, but unfortunately, I don't think he has time right now.
He's swamped, is he?
Exactly, Mr. Featherland. He is very, very, very busy. All the time.
哦，精神病院的灵魂人物。
I thought so.
哦，一条奇怪的腕带，对
Now,
对
what
对
can
对
you say about this, miss? Have you seen anything like it?
Of course. Our residents wear these for identification. But how did you come by it? They only wear them inside the institution.
Huh. I see.
The wristband does belong to one of our residents. But I'm afraid I'm not allowed to tell you more due to regulations.
Oh, come on, Miranda. It's us.
I'm sorry, I can't.
玛丽加油！
Miranda, this case is a matter of life and death. Lives are in your hands.
All right,
真行真行，可以的，
Alright.
玛丽。
I'll do it. Albert Wessler. The patient's name is Albert Thaddeus Wessler.
Figures. Just as we thought.
Thank you, Miranda. We'll never forget this.
Please, don't make me blush. And don't tell anyone you heard it from me.
Oh, we won't. I promise.
可靠啊，玛丽。哦，问一下 Albert。
So when can we talk to Mr. Wessler?
I need to ask Dr. Quetzal. Please wait here.
Thank you.
哦，他去了，他去找医生了。我们还可以看什么？好，没什么可看了。 看看线索。米兰达护士长颈鹿女，充满生命力，充满希望，充满一切正能量。不过遗憾的是，她是我们的脑残粉。怎么啦？脑残粉挺好的呀，很配合你们来。我们在精神病院的服务台遇到了一位非常好的护士，确实，她的名字叫米兰达，是公鸡神探的超级粉丝。还有一位齐活了，塞苏斯奎扎尔与蛇神医生种族绿树蟒蛇，男，冰冷专业，距离感十足。这家伙让我鸡皮疙瘩掉一地，你都没见到人家，拜托。教授是一位真正的多元学者，科学家、作家、哲学家，谁知道他还有什么身份呢？又是一个斜杠青年。OK， 那我们还能去哪儿？台阶
Dr. Quetzal will see you.
可以了。
He's waiting for you in his office. Up the stairs, all the way down the hall, until the last door.
What a surprise. It's enough to mention Wessler's name and all the doors are open.
I wouldn't want to get mixed up in this, but do you think Albert is in danger?
Danger? What do you mean?
We haven't heard from him since he disappeared, and we're really, really worried.
I see. We don't know yet, miss, but let's hope for the best.
也就是说他已经失踪了一段时间了。
Great wild ones protect him.
Where is he?
No idea, Marty.
The smell of all that's furry. I'll never get used to it.
Well, reptiles have a disgusting body odor, Marty, but they feel exactly the same about us.
怎么蜥蜴人啊？
Exactly. Great wild ones, you scared the hell out of me.
I already sensed your arrival from afar. You know, snakes have a different sense of smell, and birds used to be our prey once upon a time.
他的形象真的很像那种非常典型的疯狂科学家的形象。
Well, yeah. Luckily, we're living in civilized times.
Lucky. Please take a seat. How can I help you, gentlemen?
可以看一下。
A snake. I can't help it, but they make my feathers stand on end.
蛇是吃鸡的，对吧？对，蛇是吃鸡的。
To be honest, gentlemen, your visit is anything but a surprise. I could even say I was expecting it.
What an introduction.
Please forgive me. I have the bad habit of immediately getting into the middle of things. How very rude of me. My name is Dr. Sessuus Quetzalcoatl, but most call me Dr. Quetzal to keep it simple.
他的这个说话语气怎么这么痴汉啊？
The name is Santino Featherland, and this is my partner, Martin McChicken, from
the predatory division of the Clawville Police Department. Your fame is one step ahead of you.
We're used to it.
Certainly.
We have some questions about one of your patients, if you don't mind. We'd like to talk to him.
Please be specific, Detective.
Look, Doctor, we're too tired to play cat and mouse. Not that snake and chicken sounds any better.
Very funny, I must say. Just what I expected from you two detectives.
We know you know it's about Albert Wessler, Ibn Wessler's secret twin. Ever since we've said his name, all the doors have miraculously opened. That's what we call a bullseye.
Well, yes. Why should I deny it? We're talking about a rather illustrious patient here, who's also a very particular medical case.
Now, that's much more interesting. So, are you willing to talk about him?
Because Albert, regrettably, has disappeared, and you are police detectives, I have no reason not to talk to you. Of course, I'm at your service, but you must understand, I can't disclose information about my patients.
你不是很忙吗？你讲话还这么慢悠悠的，还给我们在这儿打太极。
Not even if it's a matter of life and death.
Everything's a matter of life and death in here, Detective. This is a hospital, even if it's primarily for the mind, not the body.
Still, I'd like to give the impossible a try.
Please, Detective, just do your job, and I'll do mine.
哦，终于可以询问哈。
So, what do you want to know, gentlemen?
Let's see.
Let's see. 哦，可以问阿尔伯特、精神病和蔡华斯。
How long was Albert a resident of the institution?
For quite some time, his first symptoms surfaced in his teens. Depression, panic attacks, and schizophrenia.
哼，他能活到今天也是不容易啊。
Was he brought here immediately after the first signs that something wasn't right?
You know, the biggest problem with an opinion on insanity is that animals are ashamed of it. That's the reason our institution stands out here in the middle of nowhere.
这个羞耻倒是真的啊，人也是这样，是吧？所以大家要正视这个心理疾病啊，它也是疾病，是病就得看。
Because animals would rather hide what they're afraid to face.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
As far as I know, the Wessler family wasn't exceptionally wealthy.
Indeed, they were rather poor, but we offer our services gratis.
还是那句话，免费才是最贵的。
Then how do you sustain yourselves?
By the grace of the treasury of King Hector III, of course.
I wouldn't have guessed that.
哦，所以那个画才是他撒了一碗不知道什么东西给那些小动物，是吧？
My family and the royal dynasty had always been on good terms, Mr. Santino.
然后盘问还能盘问啊？那先问完这些。
What kind of a place is this exactly? I assume it wasn't built as an insane asylum.
It used to be a mansion. Construction started during the occupation in 622. Then it stood empty for almost a century, until finally it went to the crown of Clawville when Hector's great-grandfather took the throne. The rest is history.
How long have you been working here?
I've worked here for more than 30 years, but it's been in my family's possession for almost 150 years.
So if I count correctly, as soon as it went to the crown, it was seized by your family.
That's almost accurate, Mr. Featherland.
听起来他们家族有点像专门帮狐狸王他们家做脏活累活的那种角色。
What a lovely inheritance.
蔡华斯。
Tell me, Doctor, do you know Madame Zavas?
Just like everybody else, I've heard of her, but I never had the pleasure of meeting her in person. I'm sure she's an interesting case.
Oh, you can be sure about that. I'd gladly get you two together if I had the chance. A spare cell would suit her very much.
Is that so?
As it turns out, she likes small, narrow, secret places.
Oh, I see. What a coincidence.
哦，我们来先看一波线索啊，再盘问他。要先掌握全部消息是吧？这看过了。教授的家族接管这所精神健康机构及这里的地产权已经有100多年了，真是笔大遗产，不是吗 ？Who else？ Albert。我们或许猜中了，阿尔伯特·威斯勒从精神病院失踪了。还有个密点 ，The half-century occupation。利爪氏自建立以来，有且只有被攻占过一次，长达半个世纪的占领，自622年起一直持续到677年。在这段时间里，哈拉尔帝国接管了利爪氏除其殖民地以外的所有领地，最后在斯沃拉索和佛拉沃斯拉夫亚的帮助下，利爪氏重新夺回了自主权。OK， 我们来盘问。
Dr. Quetzal's a real mystery. But I can turn that to my advantage. I just need to focus on the strangest pieces of the puzzle.
看一下，它是个谜，印象神秘。OK，
So when did Albert become a resident of your institute?
Albert and Hobart, or Ibn as you call him, arrived here almost exactly 4 years ago.
原来你可以用正常的语速说话，那你刚才干嘛那么慢吞吞的？
Could you describe that day more specifically?
It was not long after New Year's Eve, maybe the first week of the year, if I'm not mistaken. It was sleeting that day. Wind was banging incessantly on the windows. The power was going out for short periods of time.
What was your first impression of them?
I already knew the Wessler name. I knew who they were. Or at least I knew one of them, Hobart Wessler. He was famous. Gangster, moneylender, celebrity, lover.
And Albert?
He was new to me, an invisible grey ghost. The family had tried to keep his existence a secret.
Why?
Because they were ashamed of him, of course, Mr. Featherland. That's how it usually is.
What was your first impression of him?
He was silent, but observed everything that surrounded him. His eyes were constantly moving, never stopped for a second.
Was he afraid?
I wouldn't say so. It seemed to me that he wanted to move into our institution voluntarily. It looked as if he couldn't wait to be here, alone, locked up in silence and darkness.
听起来像个社恐啊。
Didn't you think of that as unusual?
Of course I did, but who am I to judge? It was rather special treatment.
十分专注细节，看看啊，他以任何方式威胁过你吗？接受了什么特殊待遇？
What kind of special treatment did Albert get?
You know, if an institution like ours has to accept a Wessler as a guest, there's bound to be some favoritism.
And complete secrecy, I guess.
Yes, but that's the case for all our patients, Mr. Featherland.
Of course. So in what way did he receive more than the others?
Basically, we don't admit anyone into our institution without a complete and thorough prior assessment. In the case of Albert, we put that aside.
So you didn't even know if he had anything wrong with him?
Initially, no. He was more of a guest than a patient.
新印象空想家。你第一次见到 Albert， 对他有什么看法？你对 Albert 有什么见解？你认为他会威胁到其他动物吗
Do you think he was a threat to others?
He didn't seem like that at first. He was fragile, frail, overwrought. I would have labeled him as a threat to himself, but not to others.
就是说他有一定的自毁倾向。
And later, when you came to know him better?
Albert had certain seizures. We found that out quite soon in that surprisingly cold winter. During those times, his personality distorted. He became almost someone else entirely, almost unrecognizable.
你是说阿尔伯特有多重人格？
Are you telling me Albert had multiple personalities?
We found out very quickly that there was no other reason for the cause of his seizures. He had a cold and calculating personality who sometimes, especially on stormy days, took the reins over their shared mind.
那不是巧了吗？今天就是下雨天啊。那所以在沙皇俱乐部见我们的那个很有可能是 Albert， 不是伊本哦。
He had these seizures from the beginning.
Yes, Mr. Featherland, but they started to intensify after Albert left our institution for the first time.
He did what? Left the institution? More than once?
Oh, yes, Mr. Featherland. Albert left the institution on several occasions until the last time, when he failed to come back.
Quetzal's not only very observant, but he's addicted to details. I must focus on that if I want to get closer to the truth. Focus. Addicted to details.
困惑是什么意思啊？他第一次离开医院什么时候？为什么离开？他可以随处你还有事情没告诉你，怎么能允许阿尔伯特离开呢？
When and why did Albert leave the institution for the first time?
It was about 2 years ago. Mr. Hobart Wessler appeared and demanded we let his brother go free. Naturally, we obliged. We had no idea if we'd ever see him again.
But you did.
He returned the same day. Albert was ecstatic. He was unrestrained. I could almost say happy.
That was unusual for him.
I had never seen him like that before, Mr. Featherland.
听起来好
He
诡异啊！
just smiled and stared at the empty wall for hours.
Did he ever tell you what happened to him outside?
Of course he did. Albert and I had a good relationship. He was working on a painting for his brother.
所以医院大厅的那幅画很有可能是他画的，是吗？
Was it a painting of a lovely lady cat?
Oh, exactly. So you already knew about that.
所以猫琴课是认识他的。
Yes, Dr. Quetzal, I've seen it.
他有没有说他们感情如何？有没有提过娜塔莎？啊，所以我们那个画的一角是吧？就是那幅画是不是啊？为了离开很多次吗？
Has Albert ever talked to you about Natasha?
Only in superlatives, as if he wasn't talking about a real person, but an ethereal being, about an angel or a demon, something that is not of this world.
妈呀，果然是两个兄弟爱上同一个女人的剧本啊！天哪！
And what did you think about his fantasies?
We are in an institution where almost everyone is hallucinating on a daily basis, Mr. Featherland. It didn't really bother me, but the fluctuations of positive and negative were more disturbing.
Thanks, Doc. I didn't understand a word, but I think I get the point.
反正就是跟你说他这个人情绪很容易走极端啦，就这个意思。啊，他为了完成那幅画离开很多次吗？
So Albert left on many occasions to continue working on the painting.
Exactly, Mr. Featherland. Every time he came back, he was like a different person. But unfortunately, his seizures also multiplied and became more dangerous.
More dangerous.
Albert was hurting himself. And on one occasion, he even tried to hurt me. It was unprecedented. It seemed his confined personality was taking over their shared mind entirely, piece by piece.
Do you think the painting caused it?
Not the painting, Mr. Featherland.
But its subject.
说的猫琴课像是红颜祸水一样啊。
Exactly. He was obsessed, right until that fateful day when he returned to us for the last time.
What exactly happened that day, Doctor?
It wasn't Hobart who brought his brother back that day, but two of his gorillas. Not literally, I mean. And Albert was in a terrible, terrible state.
What happened to him?
I don't like to talk about that, Mr. Featherland.
It could be vital to the case, Dr. Quetzal. Don't back down.
是的，快说。
Oh, you're right. There's no use turning back now. So, Albert's tongue was torn out, or cut off, I don't know exactly, and he was blinded in one eye, or rather, one of his eyes was missing in...
So you're saying Albert was brought back horribly mutilated?
Yes. and they didn't give any explanation as to what had happened. They simply told me it was some kind of accident.
Dr. Quetzal is cold and professional, but he's also very confused. Maybe it's cruel, but I must exploit his vulnerability if I want to learn everything about Albert.
困惑算是怎么个弱点？你并不相信阿尔伯特是遇到事故。我知道谈论这对你很不容易，有没有你能描述一下
Maybe it's not easy for you to talk about it, but did you examine his wounds thoroughly?
I'm not that kind of doctor, Mr. Featherland, but even I could determine his tongue was either cut out or bitten off, and his eye was gouged out. He also had several broken bones.
But there's no doubt it wasn't an accident.
I don't believe it was, Mr. Featherland.
I totally agree.
好，说了一堆废话。集中精神，医生，你说阿伯特出了什么事情？打起精神来，医生。
Concentrate, Doctor. What do you think happened to Albert?
I'm sure it was Hobart. He ordered his men to mutilate poor Albert.
But why would he do that?
Maybe Albert saw something he could accidentally reveal.
To whom? The four walls? A couple of crazies? You?
To anyone, Mr. Featherland.
I don't think it's that simple, Doctor. But thank you for your honest opinion.
You're welcome, Detective.
哦，后来出什么事了 ？Albert 怎么失踪了？
What happened then? How did Albert disappear?
A few weeks later, Hobart came to visit Albert one more time. Albert had been in terrible condition by then. We even had to transfer him to another cell, a more safe one.
What did Hobart do during the visit?
He didn't do anything. He just sat and watched his brother, who was in an almost vegetative state by then.
Couldn't you manage to draw anything out of him? You or Hobart?
Nothing. For a while, he was trying to signal something. Perhaps he was too afraid. And most likely his fingers had been broken too, so he couldn't even write.
听起来好惨啊！
Do you think Hobart could have killed Albert?
It's horrible to say it, but I'm sure of it.
How did he disappear in the end? Did someone come for him?
That's what's most eerie about it all, Mr. Featherland. He simply disappeared. His door, which only I had a key for, was open.
Did anyone see anything?
No one. We interrogated the staff, even the patients. He simply vanished off the face of the wilderness. We don't know what happened to him.
Unfortunately, I have a hunch. Thank you, Doctor. You've been a great help.
Oh, well, I'm glad I could be of help. But please, I now must attend to my work.
我终于知道你为什么会那么忙了，因为你说话太慢了。
We understand, Doctor.
哎呀
Thank you.
这 patient 都要急死了。哦，我以为问的不怎么样，还可以。哎，重要线索 ，Albert Wessler 不见了，我们预感他可能遭遇不测了。这还要你去问吗？这不是我们已经知道的公知消息吗？哎呀，真是。哦，看一下我们问到的4个线索。哦，是这个 ，Albert Wessler 不见了，我们预感他可能遭遇不测。OK，伊本很可能杀死了自己的兄弟阿尔伯特·威斯勒，并让奇普帮他处理了尸体。总之，这似乎是现在最合理的解释了。哦，蛇医生，他冷漠内敛，只要涉及自己的领域，永远是极度专业的样子。但发生在阿尔伯特身上的事情，甚至连他都大为生气。我想这没什么好惊讶的。再来看看 阿尔伯特的兄弟伊本曾带他离开过精神病院几次，为了替娜塔莎画那幅致命的画像。我想我们找到动机了。
That's quite shocking information.
I think you understand why we kept it a secret. If it wasn't for Mr. Wessler's demand, we'd never let any of our patients walk freely outside our institution.
Then the accident happened.
Accident? Ha! We didn't believe it, not for a second. After Albert came back to us, horribly mutilated, he was different.
看来这个精神病院里面的员工啊什么的都还挺喜欢 Albert。
Different how?
If someone got one of his eyes poked out and his tongue torn out, he'd be different, but not like this. Albert was a different person.
那说明就不是 Albert 呀，那就是伊本了，
We believe you, Doctor.
是吧？
So, can we take a look at Albert's cell?
I'd rather call it his room. Mr. Wessler lived in exceptional circumstances.
Thanks to the Wessler name, I guess.
Yes. Well, we try to make all of our patients stay as comfortable as possible, but Albert certainly enjoyed special favoritism.
I hope you don't mind if we take a look around in there.
That's not going to bother anyone.
Well, that's
怎么就突然过来了？
surprising.
那蛇医生的房间我还没
I've
看
never
呢，哎
seen a
呦，
cell like this before, that's for sure.
It seems that being a Wessler gets you privileges.
And a healthy dose of danger.
Mostly that, yeah. Let's take a good look around. I'm sure we'll find some answers here. I can almost smell them.
Well, I smell paint, ink, plaster, some kind of oil, aging paper, slight smell of rat, and great expectations.
哎呀，知道了，你的狗鼻子又动了。
What the dickens?
Unmistakable. Yeah.
This place is bad for you, pal. But if you've already jump-started your beak holes, then sniff out the solution.
I'm on it, boss bird.
哦，我们来看一下 Albert 的房间，看看小窗诡异的壁画画像高档的床。
You know, I don't think he had it so bad in here.
You mean apart from being separated from everyone you love in an ancient mansion filled with madmen?
You're right.
As always.
哼，哦，
The style. It's very familiar to me.
You've been lonely for far too long, huh?
Not funny, Marty.
It is, a little.
这个就是猫请客的那种画，哎，是不是蔡华斯也是他画的呀？
A small window, a small hope.
有可能，诡异的壁
No
画
way. Is this some kind of puzzle?
啊，是谜题吗？
I don't think so. But we could still find something important here. A pattern, a sign, anything.
我们要找什么？很多眼睛，这有很多，有个猫猫头，有房子。啊，这是什么呀？是可以把它连成一个什么东西是吗？哦，没有提示。啊，那我们等会儿再来。可以看看写字台。阿尔伯特信一堆纸，嗯。
Scribbles, newspaper articles, study papers, poems. Perfect chaos.
Just like the troubled mind of a troubled fella.
Yeah, but there's still a kind of order in it. It's just too intricate for you to comprehend.
啊，就像那个壁画一样，里面也有某种规律，只是我没理解啊。
If you say so, boss.
看看，
Identical twins. And looking at it, they may have easily loved the same woman.
哎，真的非
Two
常
men
狗
and
血。
one woman. Nothing
真的
good
是。
ever comes of that.
Well, I wouldn't say that exactly.
怎么？你有什么意见啊？
Of all the wild ones, Marty, please, stitch up your beak, okay?
Just use your imagination, old bird.
哎呦，看来这位鸡先生啊，不仅看什么阴谋论小报，还喜欢看言情小说，是不是？ 哦，这还有个阿尔伯特的信。
Look at that. A letter.
都是新物品，还有其他的没？没了。
Isn't this familiar, Sonny? Just like your office and your desk. Taking a better look around, I can find even more similarities.
Marty.
Okay. Shut up, Marty. I know.
那我们是不是要解决了这个壁画再去看这些物品啊？看看啊，这个壁画，研究一下，有很多的眼睛。这是个什么东西啊？看，
这像是个 N 吧？这像是个啥？三角形。哎，1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8。好像等会儿，等一下，它可以画几笔？1笔、2笔、3笔、4笔、5笔、6。它可以画5笔，画5笔，那会连成一个什么东西呢？我们再看看啊。
Eventually，
我感觉应该是找不到什么细节啊。我放弃。我们来看物品。
Identical twins. And looking at it, they may have easily loved the same woman.
再说一次，真的非常狗血。哦，一封信。Forgive me.
Albert was madly in love with Natasha and would have done anything for her. I'm afraid he did exactly that.
他写了些什么啊？他写了些什么？我知道我不存在，因为你看不见我。我不是你想的那样。什么？我天天都在想你，每时每分每秒。你感觉到了吗？你感觉到我在那儿吗？什么？一堆什么？原谅我，我忍不住了。这个世界正在崩塌。我要从这里出去。什么东西 ？And one with you, forgive me.
Albert was mad. What do you make of this?
Apart from the fact the guy was totally insane? I don't know. What should I?
That maybe we've been chasing the wrong person all this time, Marty.
看来森尼也终于意识到这个问题了。
What do you mean?
Everything will be revealed soon.
Why do you have to be so melodramatic all of a sudden?
因为你这个脑子小，什么都没想到啊。
If I'm right, this'll flip the whole case upside down.
What's that, Sonny? A blurb from some horrible novel?
也可能是恐怖游戏的宣传语哦。
I just have to think things through before I come to any hasty conclusions, Marty.
You're killing me. So, what now?
Back to Clawville, where we can finally put all the pieces together.
我们要回去做小结了吗？
You're driving me crazy. But all right, let's go home.
走了。还好我们把信放在最后看啊！天哪！阿尔伯特无可救药地爱上了娜塔莎，这是他必须死的原因吗？有可能哦。关键是不一定是阿尔伯特哦，
Why do
是
you
伊
have
本哦，有可
bars
能
on。your windows?
Because it's a room like all the others, and I'm just an animal too, like all our residents.
With the significant difference of you being a doctor and not a patient. Am I right?
It's not as big of a difference as you'd think.
也是哦，医者不自医是吧？搞不好医生的心理
Your
问题也很大
office
呢。
is rather Puritan. Simple, I mean.
Ain't that the truth?
Well, yes. I can't let my mind wander from my work. I only keep what's essential in my office.
I see. That makes sense.
说
An
说
isle of reason in a sea of insanity.
Insanity is such a strong word, and it's mostly an abstract idea. Where does insanity start, and how long is one not insane? Interesting questions. Am I normal? Or are you? Maybe neither of us.
这算什么终
You
极
see,
问
that's
题吗？
something I think about a lot nowadays.
If you like, I can give you an appointment.
Oh, this is your chance, Sonny. Don't miss it. We're already here.
Marty, clock up.
啊，原来你还是这种喜欢占小便宜的性格。
Is this cell like the others?
I would rather call it a room. But yes, it's like all the others, except there are even bigger ones than this.
我们还能再进去吗？
So, detectives, have you found what you were looking for?
I'm afraid we have, Doctor. And more.
I wouldn't dare to say I'm happy to hear it, but I'm glad to be of service to you.
Well, thanks, Doc.
I hope I don't offend you by saying I hope we're not going to meet anytime soon.
Not on account of either of our jobs, am I right?
Exactly.
你刚刚还不是邀请给我们看一次诊吗？啊，
Goodbye, Doctor.
Goodbye, detectives.
所以我们这个房间就是，哎，
What can you tell us about the woman in the photo we saw in Albert's room?
Do you mean Miss Natasha Katsenko? Well, yes. I don't know much about her, but everyone heard her name and her voice around here.
Did she ever visit this place?
Never. But if you ask me, Natasha probably didn't even know Albert was a resident of our institution.
所以Natasha 知道他有一个双胞胎兄弟吗？
And Albert, did he mention her often?
Constantly. It
对啊，
was
他应该
obvious
知
he
道啊，
had
因为
an
那个
affection
合照上
for
是两个
Miss
人啊。
Katsenko, but I wouldn't have thought for a moment he could escape because of her.
I wouldn't jump ahead, Doctor. Something else could be behind Albert's disappearance.
Do you think so? All the signs clearly indicate this.
Maybe they do, Doctor, but in my line of work, logic's not always the best advisor.
In 99% of cases.
Exactly. But this one typically belongs to the remaining 1%.
我也不觉得是剩下1%啊，也属于那99%啊，很成逻辑啊。
If you say so.
啊，不能问了，没有更多的信息了，那我们走吧，只能走了。
Oh, I don't believe this. Those two again?
Take him
就是啊。
out. My car won't last much longer.
Don't worry, Sonny. I was born to do this.
两个滑稽小弟啊啊！反正也打不死我们，随便打，
Are
不
you
躲。
blind or what? Where did you learn to shoot?
小菜一碟。
Whew. Well, that was close.
哦，解锁了一个新场景。
A little too close for my taste. And it only strengthens my belief. Wessler is desperate. He knows if we survive, he's done for.
Well, come on. What did you work out? Will you tell me already?
Sure. Let's put the picture together, piece by piece. Let's start
Okay.
from the beginning. So, we got a case.
我们遇到了一个案子，是一本，不确定，是猫情科。啊，这里有一个什么情书？是情书吗？不是情书。是他消息吗？不是。是花样碎片吗？是的。我们遇到案子呢，他是试图向我们展示那幅画，那他是试图向我们隐瞒那幅画，那他是想要我们帮他找到那幅画，那他是想毁掉那幅画，不是。
Natasha tried to show us the painting.
线索，致命的爱，不是，哦，还是这个，对，就是这样。
And that painting would have shown
阿尔
us
伯
the
特
way.
· Wessler 藏身之处，他的尸体，因为知道这幅画的是被阿尔伯特杀害了，他和他见过一次面。
Ibn and Albert
Ah.
Wessler. Albert painted Natasha, so he met her on more than one occasion,
然后要找一个线索，致命的爱，啊，
which made Albert
这让阿尔伯特疯狂地爱上了并逃离了，杀了他亲兄弟取代了他的位子，迫使制造那些威胁案子。秘密
Fall in love with Natasha. And on a
真
fateful
就这
night,
么狗
he
血啊！
killed his brother so he could take his place in secret and win Natasha's heart.
So what happens now?
就是这些肤浅的男男女女的情情爱爱哦，真的是。
The inevitable, Marty. We're going to the Wessler mansion to confront Ibn with the facts.
You mean Albert, right?
Yeah, exactly. And of course, Natasha.
Do you think she knew about it?
Something stinks, Marty. The whole case seems too intricate.
他会不知道吗？这是他的身边人哎，枕边人哎。
Too many coincidences, right?
而且两个人的性格也并不是一样的呀。
Well, well, after 10 years, you did learn something, didn't you?
9.
You're right.
Right，
What?
You just laughed, Sonny.
这是他第二次好吗？
What? No, I snorted.
不要端着啦。
No, you laughed.
Ah, just leave it, Marty.
I'll be telling this to my grandchicks.
All right, pal, that's enough.
Okay. So, Albert fell madly in love with Natasha and decided to have her for himself.
And his best chance was to trade places with Ibn Wessler.
So that's why the torn out tongue.
Yeah, Ibn couldn't squeal even if he wanted to.
What a diabolical plan.
More like insane.
But why the messages then? Why the threats? Albert got what he wanted. He could have got away with it.
I'm not a psychologist, Marty, but remember what the doctor told us. Albert has a seriously injured mind and a split personality. I think his two identities were at war with each other.
So the messages were written by one of his personalities, consumed by jealousy?
Something like that, Marty. But we can only learn the whole truth from him.
You're right. So, are we going or what?
We're going, Marty, to finally finish what we started.
Well, if there's anything you'd like to do before, do it now, boss. You won't have a chance later.
You're right, Marty. It's time to wrap everything up.